Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Happiness Is podcast with me, your host, Bruce Aitchison from Happiness Egg. We are in the midst of the Women's Six Nations and I am absolutely buzzing because this Sunday, Scotland welcome Italy to Hive Stadium and it's all on. Decent performance against France, but a win against Wales. 3 games to go. We're right in the middle. So who better to speak to than head coach Bryan Easson, mate of mine. We've already been chatting for a long time. We thought we should hit record. So please welcome the one and the only, the man, the master, Bryan Easson. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good, Bruce. How's yourself?
Yeah, good. We've been blethering for ages and we decided we better hit record. Training at Oriam this week?
Yeah, it's been good, actually. Last week, and the Women's Six Nations, as you know, is a little bit different from the Men's Six Nations in the fact that we have 2 games. We've only got 1 Fallow week and then we go into 3 and a block of 3 games. So the last week was Fallow week. Probably needed after a long trip to France. It was, typical France, taking us way south to La Rochelle, which is a brilliant place to play rugby. It's a great place to for an event. They really go after it. So it was, a brilliant experience. But yeah, 2 tough games. Wales was tough. France was tough. So a kind of down week last week, and then coming in Oriam this week's been great. A lot of players refreshed, ready to go for what will be 2 home games at Hive, Italy this weekend, as you mentioned, and then a tough trip to Welford Road in the middle of it all.
Yeah, that is a tough one. Wales, obviously it's a World Cup year and Scotland and Wales just never seem to be able to get away from each other. Are you talking about it? Are you looking ahead, or are you just dealing with what's in front?
We're dealing with what's in front, I'll be honest with you. And we spoke about World Cup prior to WXV, prior to going to Cape Town in September, in terms of, right, this is a kind of 18-month journey, so it's really important around, and we tried a few different things at WXV. We played around a little bit with our attacking shape, played around a little bit with line-out staff, some defensive work as well, just for us to really work out what our real identity is. So that was us kind of looking at World Cup then, but then coming into Six Nations, it's take World Cup away, it's the best tournament in the world. You've got to respect that tournament for what it is. And then obviously going into that Six Nations, Wales was, that's its own entity in that game. France was then, and now our focus is on Italy. So we're not focusing past Italy this weekend.
It's amazing that we keep talking about the journey of the women's game, and even since last year's Six Nations, it feels like there's been a jump. England are consistently number 1 in the world, appear to be favourites for everything, but everybody seems to have taken a jump. So although Scotland have improved, so have France, so have Ireland, so have Wales, so everybody's making improvements, which is a great challenge. Italy this week, how much do you prepare for playing Italy, and how much do you prepare just as Scotland?
Both. I think it's really important. So we came back, because it's a Sunday game, our week started kind of Monday night. We had a few kind of leaders meetings, strategy meetings Monday night, but then obviously a Tuesday and a Sunday, that's how the week will run. So we reviewed France on Tuesday morning, kind of drew a line under France, and then lunchtime onwards we kind of previewed Italy. It's really important we understand where the opportunities and threats lie. So we go kind of big rocks around opportunities, we go big rocks around threats, and then build the detail as the week goes on. So yeah, we understanding where we can go after them, where they'll come after us, but also base it around, right, okay, where's our strengths, how are we playing, how do we want to play, what's our game strategy, so on and so forth. So yeah, we do look at opposition, but a lot of it's around, okay, how can we put our stamp on the game with the strengths that we have, understanding what our identity is as well, and where the strengths with individuals lie as well.
Take me into those Monday night meetings, obviously not with the detail, but you've got a leadership group that I know you're very proud of. The team put a lot of emphasis on how they behave, how they lead, how they role model, how they bring new people into the group that you've done. How much of that review of France and preview of Italy is player-led?
The players, we've got attacking groups, and we've sort of attack leaders, we've got defence leaders, we've got set-piece leaders, and obviously we speak closely with these guys prior to those reviews. So banners will meet the attack leaders. Fraser will meet up with the line-out leaders. Tyrone will meet defensive leaders. We'll then all kind of pull that together in terms of, right, what's our review and how does that fit into the game strategy moving forward? And it's really important that it's leadership group. And what I mean by leadership group, it's coaches, management, and players all together. Players do drive a lot. Players drive. We put key focuses on training, so an attack focus, a defence focus, but players will drive that on the field, and they'll link that to what our kind of mindset anchor for the week that the players will pick. So Rachel's very, very good around what our mindset anchor is for the week, how that fits into what the game focus is, how that focus is one on field but also off field. So there's a lot of moving parts within the leadership group, so off field stuff. The strategy group would be the on field stuff, and then the mini groups around it. And then obviously it's about pulling it all together and making sure that we all singing from the same hymn sheet come Sunday at 3:00.
It's funny you use that phrase, singing for the same hymn sheet, because I kind of feel like if there's any squad that actually has hymn sheets to sing from, it's you lot.
Yeah, you're right. And I mean, like, it's like we value clarity a lot. We value everybody having a voice. We value leadership. And what I mean by valuing leadership is that the leaders are not just Rachel as captain and Nelly as vice captain. We've got leaders all along, and what we do is we encourage your Adele Ferries and your Molly Pullmans, your Becky Boys, who are just being capped, to also be leaders. And what that means is just have a voice, be brave. And we talk about a brave environment around. You talk about, everybody talks about bravery. What does bravery actually mean? The bravery is like that we want to help each other. If you're not happy with something, or you think something's going well, or you think it can help the group, that's what we believe bravery is, and that's what leadership comes from, and that's how I suppose that's how you grow leaders, and that's how you grow the group. So, I talk about those three new caps coming in, but there was also another one in Holly Cunningham, who unfortunately got injured against France, who's not here this week. She's come into the group, like, been outstanding, because she has been experienced, obviously playing at Bristol. Nobody really knew her. We knew how she played and what she got, but the bravery that she came into the group around asking really, intellectual questions, clever, smart questions in front of the group, and asking why, and then the group just allowing that to flow. That's what bravery is, and I think it's brave to speak, but it's also brave to allow somebody to speak as well. So we don't quite sing from a hymn sheet. We don't have a 9 o'clock sing song, but we do. I get what you're saying. We value that.
Yeah, it's classic. I mean, it seems like a happy camp, and you need time away. That fallow week, it looks like a lot of the players, went away and decompressed, although some of them still posting videos of training and running and all that as they should. So you come back in. You've set a lot of targets. You talk a lot about how to behave and how to conduct yourself. The aim at the start of the Six Nations, is it the same aim as it is going into Game 3?
Yeah, it is. Obviously, we wanted to. Performance is massive for us. So in terms of, we knew that we had 3 home games against teams that we can go after. I think you saw last year beating Wales away from home for the first time in 20 years. To beat Italy away from home for the first time in 25 years last year. They're teams that we've always had close battles with, but we're now able to not only compete and beat them regularly, which has been brilliant, but to beat them away from home, I think it shows a step forward. Obviously, France away from home 2 years ago, last year, whenever it was 55-0 we lost on the end of a 12-game losing streak, and it was a difficult time that for this group, but also showed how strong and resilient this group are as well. Is that after that was when we beat Italy at home, we then beat Ireland, and then we started this roll of, I don't know how many it is now, but there's that you learn to win and you learn to grow. So we had a kind of internal target around Six Nations, knowing that we're good enough to win games, but we also believed we were good enough to go to France last week as well and win the game. And that's why we were disappointed around certain parts of the performance against France, albeit probably the best result we've had in France, or best performance we've had in France for a long, long time. We still believe that going into it, we were good enough to compete and win the game.
You could come a long way to be disappointed with an away loss in France, but looking at 3 wins, the players, you and I talk about this pretty much every time, the depth that you inherited when you took over was the shallow end of the pool. Now you're maybe not quite in the diving pool, but it's certainly got a lot deeper. You're looking at almost 2 players in every position, if not more. But then there's some real tall trees that stick out. You know, Emma Orr just seems to be getting better and better. Fran McGee's carrying meters and defenders beating her, I think, top of the charts, not off the charts, but top of the charts. So you've got some real standouts. But it wasn't that long ago that your backs weren't getting a chance because they were being dominated up front. So you must be really pleased with how your forwards are going.
Oh, brilliantly. I mean, honestly, I can't speak highly enough of the players that you've mentioned. Obviously, they work really hard to become the best they can be. They don't look at like Emma or Fran McGee, look at themselves. They don't look at themselves in these charts and think I'm the finished article. They look at, right, okay, how can I get even better? They've got sights set on things, and that's the high performance behaviours that is shining through. But the forwards, you're right. I think bizarrely, Eliane Clark and Anne Young both started their first Six Nations game against Wales 3 weeks ago. Like, they've been around the squad. Like, they're both young. They're both still learning their trade, 23, 24-year-old. But what they're doing now is with players in behind them as well. They're growing. You've then got Lana, but you've got Ellis Martin, you've got Ayla Ronald pushing her at hooker. You've then got second rows and Sarah Bonner. You've got Holly Cunningham. You've then got Adele Ferry and Becky Boyd, who have both been capped, recently, and both young. But then you've got Emma Wassell, who's working so hard and behind the scenes to get herself back. With you've got Rachel McLachlan, who's fighting because you've got Alex Stewart behind. You've got Evie Gallagher, who's fighting because she's got Jade Conkle in there. You've got Rachel Malcolm, who's fighting because Becky Boyd can play 6 as well. So what that does is it shows the pool that we've got, but what that does is drive performance. It drives training. But then off the back of that, you've got to have the coaches that are then driving that. And like we talked earlier on about Matt Banham, Tyrone Holmes, Fraser Brown. Their drive and their want for the players to get better as well is it just makes my job really easy, because I I trust, or we trust each other to say, right, you look after that, you look after that, you look after that. We've got a management team and players, and my job is to bring it together. But these guys have just they work together so bloody well, and it's the easiest job in the world I've got, to be honest. It's quite good.
I love hearing it, but you've been in the game a long, long time, and it just feels like this job, it fits your skin, this job, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does actually. I think, like, it's where I'm really lucky is that rugby's a people. It's like this. It's like anything. It's a people game, innit? It's like it's all about performance on the field. But if you've got the right people around you, you can help people grow, and then when people grow, the performances grow. The players themselves, you've got leaders in there who just allow the other players to be themselves. And we do presentations every year around what does it mean to us, what is it to Scotland, what's Scotland all around, and everybody's seen all these PowerPoints and presentations and posters and stuff on the wall, and it's ultimately about actions, isn't it? And the players themselves, they drive things. You talk about leadership group, we'll review every single week, and we'll say, right, what was good, what could get better, what pleased us last week, what can we tweak. The leadership group will then go and lead that with the players. It's very much player led, and around the changing rooms theirs, the team rooms theirs, and the behaviours that they instill in there. What we see is how they train on the pitch, and if they're fresh and they're clear and they're calm, it's an easy gig. But then you look at the management team we've got as well. You've got Ellen Dixon, who's like the stuff that she does in behind. You've got medics. You've got it's pulling all together. But when you've got good people, it's easy.
Yeah, Ellen's an absolute star, isn't she?
She's unreal. Like she's the
oracle. She sees everything.
She does, and like she's it's really funny. Ellen and I were, we're laughing earlier on. We've worked together for so long. Like we argue like cat and dog. Like honestly, like we'll have arguments, we'll have disagreements, and then they would just kind of laugh and they'd go, right, yeah, you're right, or I'm right, or she's wrong, or it's like it's normally me that's wrong, but it's like because you're right, she's the oracle, and we have discussions all the time, and I think you need that. It goes back to the players themselves about being honest with each other. Management are also honest with each other as well. If we believe it could be better, or we believe things could change or tweak, that's the thing as well. So yeah, good people. And then it's just about everybody working together to ultimately produce performances come Saturday or Sunday, as it is this week.
And looking at Sunday for Italy, they've definitely got threats, but what's a realistic outcome for the weekend? I know you want to win, but is there a win and restrict them from any sort of bonus? Is it keep a clean sheet? Is there anything you're able to give us with aims?
I think you go in every game and you say, right, okay, the ultimate goal is to win the game. Obviously we want to put on a performance to one, have the supporters, the fan base that we've got at Hive is just outstanding. Allow them to sit back and look at us as a team and go, yeah, they're making real progress. We've got exciting individuals, exciting talent. Italy are a good side, and they've not the first two games that I thought against England. First half they struggled, but then they actually they put up a fight that second half against England at Hull. Ireland played very well last week or 2 weeks ago over in Zebra. But Italy have got some real individuals in there that can really hurt you. So yeah, we've got to look after those individuals. We've got to look after our own shape and our structure and our processes. And if we stick to process and we really look after the process, I think the game will look after itself. But it's about the learnings that we had from France. It's about the learnings we took from Wales and putting them all together and having that kind of 80-minute performance that against France we probably played for 65. With maybe 7-minute blip first half, 8-minute blip second half. But against this one, if we really stick to processes, stick to what we're going after, it could be an interesting weekend.
No, it was the most media trained answer I've ever heard in my life. You're not going to give me selection, but I'm keen to know, now that you've got depth, it wasn't that long ago where you weren't using some of your replacements because it wasn't going to help anybody, the player going on, the player coming off, the whole team performance. Now you're in a position where you've got 8 players who can come on and make an impact. How much of the selection is based around, right, we've got these 15 for 50 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, we're making that change then and that. So you're not necessarily picking your best 15 to start the game, you're picking your best 15 to play for 80 minutes. What's the detail going into using those other 8?
There's quite a bit of detail goes into it in terms of, the coaches will, through the week we talk a lot about it, and then on the morning of the game we always have our kind of strategy catch up around how the week's gone, how's loading been, how's everybody feeling, what we're looking like, who we're playing against, what's the weather, like what are all the what are the things that we can potentially foresee happening. What you can't foresee is the Wales game with yellow cards, red cards, TMO interventions, like all that. You can't foresee that, so you have to be fluid. There are thoughts around it, but you have to be fluid. You've got to be adaptable. You've got to be ready to adapt. You've got yellow card scenarios. You've got red card scenarios. You've got, what do we do if what's a yellow card in our own half to their half? All that kind of stuff we do discuss. So we've got detail around it, but we have to understand that can adapt or it can change within a heartbeat. So there are thoughts. But the one thing that I would say, however, is that international sport now, whether it is football, rugby, but we're looking at our sport, rugby. Six Nations men this year, Six Nations women's this year, last year. You know, you look at WXV, you look at URC, you look at, European Cup, Champions Cup. It's a 23-player game now. It's not a 15-player game. It's a 23-player game. And I don't think there are many examples where, and that's why it's so important to have a big squad, is there's not many examples where the starting 15 finish. I don't think there are any examples. I don't think there are any, like none whatsoever. So it is a 23-player game, hence the reason that it's very important when you're picking a team or you're making changes due to strategy or making changes through your game plan, that everybody's clear as to why those selections have been made, because you need everybody to be on the game post-selection and the next day's training, or to put that disappointment aside. And no matter what you say, and I've had these conversations for years and years and years, no matter what you say, and no matter how well I put it across or how much evidence you can put, there's always going to be disappointment. And if a player's not disappointed, that means probably made the wrong decision, or they're in the wrong game. There's not one person would ever come into a selection conversation and be not disappointed or go, yeah, you're right. You always have these conversations. However, the most important thing is that they understand that they are a massive part. So it's a 23-player squad. I hate the word finishers. I don't like that. I don't like that. It's not me. It's a 23-player squad. And you look at last week, for example, or 2 weeks ago in France, Holly Cunningham was off after 57 seconds. So the players have got to be ready just to get in. Molly Pullman was on the pitch in La Rochelle after 10 minutes. So you've got two players who just played Celtic Challenge for the year, playing against, in front of 17,000 people at La Rochelle, and they were ready. So that's how it could be. So you've got to adapt really quickly.
It's exciting to see, and I know there's players on there that are desperate to be in that starting 15, and they're on the bench, but they've made an impact when they've come on. The players who have been playing in that Celtic Challenge, Edinburgh, Glasgow, they're doing the best with the situation they've got. They're not playing in England. They're playing in the highest level they can. How pleased have you been with the progress in that?
Yeah, I think so. I think you just look at Molly and you look at Adele. First of all, that's them, the two of them. Adele, I think her story is brilliant. Like 5 years ago, was playing at Dundee University or something like that. Played for Morgan, played for Hive Fife. Obviously, from good stock there. She's a farming girl from, from Dumfries as well. So she's so her progress has been massive. Molly Pullman, God, it's the Hive Fife thing. She played at Hive Fife as well. She's a Bell Baxter girl. So it's huge that these guys have come through, but they've obviously come from their clubs. Corstorphine Cougars winning the league, to then Adele going to Celtic Challenge and play. So that it just shows that there's an avenue and a route for girls in Scotland, but there's also a route for girls that are playing PWR like Holly Cunningham as well. So I think it's really important that we show these girls are coming through, but also think it's really important that if they're good enough, they'll play. And we're not scared to do that. We're not scared to. We don't pick on legacy. We pick on performance. And that's been really clear.
Yeah, it's exciting and it feels fresh. There was a point where I think we could all picture 15 now. From week to week, we knew who your best 15 was. Now it's far harder, and you'll be having more of those conversations. So hoping to have a decent crowd there on Sunday. The girls obviously put a lot into their connection with supporters, their role modelling. How much is that talked about?
Through the week, we don't. I'll be honest, we don't talk about the what we hope to get, but they do after the game. They love that crowd at Hive. Is just it's a different audience, isn't it? I mean, it is it's very family orientated. It's very there's a lot of young players want to be there, be around their heroes. They get close to their heroes. You watch our group up the tunnel, post game. It's a phenomenal sight. They spend so much time in there because they genuinely appreciate every single person that's been there. They love playing at Hive. They love the noise. They love the atmosphere. But we're genuinely hoping to get a bigger crowd again this weekend, because I think performances. I think we're talking about the youngsters that come there. Let's also talk about the players. They deserve those supporters coming. Their performances are deserving of big crowds. I believe they've opened all stands for this game, so I believe they're tracking above 5,000 at the moment, which is brilliant.
Class.
And I believe for the Ireland game, it's tracking for a sellout. So that's just showing that there is growth, and it's showing that the performances are appreciated. But on the flip side of that, so is the support. The support is very much appreciated as well.
No, it's brilliant. It's going to be a class atmosphere, I hope, and a win always makes things better. And then the planning starts again. You're not looking too far ahead, but that's a pretty hefty challenge against England. Their depth is just incredible. Eh?
Yeah, I mean they're a quality side, aren't they? I mean I think for the first two games they deliberately. I know I spoke to John Mitchell at the Six Nations launch in January, and he said they picked two different teams, because you had Gloucester Hartbury against Saracens in the PWR final, so they kind of went, right, okay, they'll rest so we can then bring them back. And just to be able to do that is, it just shows the strength and depth. I think playing England is always a challenge. Playing England at Welford Road, that kind of old school in it. It's brilliant. It's a great place to play. Coach rugby. It's a brilliant atmosphere. But we've also a 6-day turnaround, because we play Italy Sunday, we then play England Saturday, and a 6-day turnaround it's a tough one. So we'll obviously see what happens Sunday. We'll then have to look at how do we manage load, because it's not just a 6-day turnaround, it's also a 6-day turnaround with a travel. So that's always hard. It's always when you add that up around the planning and the preparation and the training times you get into that, because there's less training, less prep time. So probably more time off, more recovery time than anything going into that England week. Hence the reason there's a lot of clarity and understanding this week, and a lot of learning online.
a lot of learning online. And I'm gonna mention it. I don't know what you're going to give me here, but it's obviously World Cup year. It's not quite at home, but it's nearly at home. You must be absolutely buzzing for that.
God, Rugby World Cup is just it's the pinnacle, isn't it? It's like where everybody wants to play, coach, just be involved in. To have two games close enough to home in Manchester against Wales and Fiji it's really exciting. And then to go down to Exeter to play Canada, Exeter, as well as you're playing in some, you're playing at Salford in Manchester, and then playing at obviously Sandy Park at Exeter. They're quality places to go to. It's like everybody, all the players are obviously I'm sure they'll be thinking about it when they get an opportunity, but I know that they are focused on this Six Nations. World Cup close to home, and I think you see the growth of the game. I think you look back at the football Euros, don't know exactly when it was, when England, the Lionesses won, and you just saw what that did for football. And I believe there's something like 300,000 to 400,000 tickets already sold for Rugby World Cup. That says an awful lot around, and that's still months to go yet. So it's exciting. Looking forward to it, but Six Nations first.
Six Nations first. It is incredible. The best thing about this compared to the football Euros is Scotland are invited to this one.
No, we qualified.
That one we qualified, because England. My kids can tell you who the Lionesses are, but they can't really tell you who many of the Scottish women footballers are. But they know who the Lionesses are. This one, having the four home nations all able to play almost at home is class. There's going to be some great crowds. It feels like there is momentum building. Six Nations, a little bit of time to rest, recover, and get ready.
That's not a lot of time.
Not for you. Not for you, for supporters.
Yeah, we play Ireland on the 27th of April, and our first World Cup camp's is 2nd of June. So, it's been a long year because we obviously had WXV, September, October, PWR, and because it's a World Cup year, PWR was condensed along with Celtic Challenge. So they went from WXV into PWR, Celtic Challenge, straight into Six Nations. So this has been a really long season, a lot of game time, a lot of a lot of contact, a lot of games. So May is going to be a lot of sleeping in May from a lot of the players, a lot of recovery, and holidays, because then it's straight in the World Cup. So June all the way to the middle of September, end of September for World Cup as well. So yeah, it's exciting, really exciting though.
It is class. May is going to have a lot of flat white Instagram posts from the Scotland women, I'm guessing.
Yeah, the biggest bunch of coffee snobs ever. Honestly, you've got a coffee machine through there at the moment. It's just like it's a roaring trade.
They'll not remember the Nescafe adverts that we used to sell.
No, they don't do Council coffee. That's lot.
Class. Bernie, so good to see you. I hope it goes well on Sunday. I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to Scotland women at home get a win. Hopefully I'll see a smile on your face at the end. But well done. Keep it going. It's been class. We're all behind it.
Brilliant. Like, thanks for having us on. And like, I know just it's so important that we keep talking about this group, because the more we can give in terms of driving, their performance, but just driving crowds and stuff like that, it's much appreciated. So thanks for having us on.
Awesome. Love it. Cheers, Bernie. Speak to you soon.
Take care, buddy. Cheers.
Absolutely love it. Class. It's all on. Get there if you can on Sunday at Hive Stadium. Scotland against Italy. You heard them. It's going to be good, and hopefully we're going to get some decent weather as well. I'm hoping to be there. Big smile. Hopefully take the family too. It's going to be a brilliant Sunday afternoon out. So we'll see you there. If you enjoyed it, you can catch us on Apple, Acast, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts. We'll also be on Facebook and YouTube. Come on, Scotland. See you on Sunday.